No. Hold on. Here we go.
There we go.
I was watching it on the TV, so it was trying to connect you to the TV. Thank you for the birthday message, by the way.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry I didn't call you back.
Thank you for having the birthday.
You know, I try.
Thank you for being born up in this piece.
Where you at?
California.
Nice.
Hey, Mike.
I saw your pictures. They looked amazing. Which golf course were you at?
It's called the Vintage Club. It's one of the oldest and most prestigious clubs in the United States.
You would be there playing and golfing.
I know. Such a big deal.
Yes, it's awesome.
That's what I tell them everywhere I go. I'm like, you don't even get it.
I'm such a big deal.
Such a big deal. Who we got? Oh, they're Jason.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Michael?
I've got a friend joining tonight.
Oh, beautiful.
I work with him. So he has to watch with us.
Okay.
You know, he's still in California?
In physical form? Where are we at here?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, he's here. Okay. Hey, hi.
How are you?
Good,
Andrew,
good.
Mike, Andrew.
Happy to have you. Jason,
He's still in California?
You having a power outage? What's going on with you?
Oh, I'm just downstairs here.
Ah.
I'll turn the light on.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how
There
are
he
you?
is. Holy beard, man. This girl grows like 7 inches a week.
Tell me about it. I told
What
my
do you-
wife and
what do you
kids,
put
I
in
said,
that?
I'm just going to grow it out and be Santa this winter.
You putting
I'm
that
ready
chia-
for your dinner.
chia grow on that thing every day or what?
I don't. I tell you, I told my wife, I said, I'm just going to be Santa this winter. And if anybody needs Santa Claus for their kids, I guess that'll be me.
Heck yeah. We'll do a Santa special.
I guess.
Hi guys.
No.
Hey, Portia.
Hi, Portia.
Hey.
Thank you for my birthday present, by the way. I just got it. My mail was like delayed. So thank you very, very much.
Happy
love
birthday. It's good to see you back with us.
I know. I've been
How old? How old now?
turned 21 like 5 times now.
Yeah, I hear you.
Probably a
I hear you.
Whitney, you want to be back for work?
First birthday.
Hello.
So when's your vacation over?
What's the question?
When's your vacation over and you have to go back?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like the room you're in, Jason.
Oh, we're downstairs.
Like the Matrix, bro. You dodging bullets over there?
Are you in the
Amber?
library?
Oh, downstairs.
I
I
know-
moved down. I moved downstairs. It's got the stove and all kinds of stuff down here. It's kind of quiet.
Like it.
It's kind of quiet.
All right.
Leather
Kids got
bound
their TV
books.
shows going up there and everything else is fine, but it's quiet down here.
Smells like wood and beard oil.
Yep.
All right, let's get started. I think Meg is going to join in here soon.
How many of us tonight?
We got 7 now. We got Meg's going to join in. She's text me. She's coming in a little late. And I don't know if Blondie's going to join us or not, Kristen, but we'll see. I was kind of late to post. Trying to get used to this time being 6. Keep on thinking I have 3 more hours before I'm supposed to be on this, but anyway, I posted what I post? What did I say?
I read it.
No, so nobody actually read it. Cool.
I did.
No, it was a freedom to something.
freedom to
Dangerously close to freedom. Dangerously close.
All right, so it says
there you
reach
go.
for dangerous levels of freedom. Reach for dangerous levels of freedom. So
That's right.
this one's been on my mind for a couple weeks actually, but so what I mean by it is more in the sense of like places we've never been. So like most of we use the word dangerous as a negative or like it's a bad thing, like it's a dangerous position to be in, but that's not how I'm intending it at all. It's more of like reach these dangerous levels of freedom that we've always been either one, not told about, or scared to explore. So the levels of freedom I'm saying in this country, it's hard to talk about and say, oh, we don't have every single freedom, because we kind of truly do. We get to do and choose whatever we want every day here, truly. But I mean more along the lines of, how we grow up and what we're told are the ways of living, the generalities that we've always spoke of what you do, when you do it, how old you do it, the order of things. And nobody really questions that. And I had a conversation with a client I had here actually today. I was speaking to him about what we were going to speak about tonight. And he brought up, well, we do these things because they've worked in the past. And my immediate response was, have they worked? Because if you look at all the things in order, a lot of those things have not worked and have been tracked as not working. I mean, if you looked at any other sport or a winning record, you wouldn't say marriage in this country is at a winning record, right? Because it's not. So you wouldn't say the financial state of most Americans is in a winning record category, because it's not. Majority of the Americans in this country live below the poverty line. So it's not like, oh, we've witnessed all these guidelines and they're working, so let's not question them and let's not go outside of them and let's not do anything different, because they're not working. And there is room for change, and there is room for walking outside the lines and choosing a different way of doing it. But that's where the danger comes in, the dangerous freedom part. Like when we haven't tasted certain things, it can be scary. And we want to reach for those things. We want to reach for this excellence and get outside the box that we already know the results for, right? We already know the results. He was kind of proving my point. Like, yeah, we have seen it forever and we have seen it fail. So why not reach for other things? Why not come outside the box? Why not leave the compound and travel through the woods and eat the berry on the tree? Could you get sick and die? Yeah, 100%. But that's my point of like the freedom of the dangerous part of that freedom. You could go outside those walls, eat the berry, and live like you've never lived. Right? So that's what I mean by reach for dangerous levels of freedom. Get outside and try. There are riskier, yes, because there is no plan. There's no generalities that were put in place before you to tell you how to live your life. And by the way, they're not doing good. They're like the New York Giants in football. They're just not doing good. Okay, it's not fun to watch. It's miserable. I'm going to skip this season. My point is, like, when something else is not good, we don't watch it. It's not fun to watch. It's hard to watch. And that's how I see what this current guidelines of life is. And I think one, there is no teachings. We got deep in a conversation, the same gentleman, and it was like, this is the kind of the way it is, but we don't get taught about the most important things that could free us up earlier, like a divorce. Like, what happens when you get divorced, mom? Or what happens when you get divorced, teacher? Or what happens when you fall on your face financially? Or what happens when you lose the closest person in your life to you in death? We don't talk about the things we're scared of. And because we don't talk about it, we end up going through those things by ourselves. Even if we're in a room with other people, we're still going through it individually, because that person's also didn't know what it was and going through it individually. So it's hard to support each other in something we're all going through for the first time. There's no freedom in that. There's a lot of fear in it. That's why you hear people always say, everybody grieves differently. Just leave them be. Everybody grieves differently. Well, no shit, because we're all going through it for the very first time it's ever happened to us. And we don't know how. It's because we're not starting earlier questioning the norm, trying to leave the compound and go pick a berry, trying to do the things that we've been told, well, it's not going to really work for you. It's not the right way to do things. But how do we know? Right? How do we know it's not the right thing? How do we know it's not the new best thing? It's the people that were named outlaws or outcasts or dangerous or witches or all those things that end up doing those things way prior to us. They end up risking everything and sometimes losing their life to prove to somebody else that there is a different way or there's something else or we can have both. So I say we strive to reach for dangerous levels of freedom, like get to the point where, I played that song in the post, Danger Zone from Top Gun, because it's like that's a light-hearted song a little bit. And if you watch the movie, there's nothing dangerous about it. That guy just pushed the levels. Tom Cruise in that movie just pushed the levels all the time outside the restraints of his commanding officer. Do not do those things. We have a protocol. You cannot do it. And all he was doing was pushing the levels and showing that he could do it. He could do it better. He could save lives. But he could also conform. At the end, he did conform when he was on a team. So it's not always about living in this box and not pushing levels. Sometimes it's about both. Sometimes it's about going outside that box and never coming back. So I played that because there was nothing really dangerous about that, besides the fact that we lost Goose. We lost a good man in that movie. Hell of a good man. Better pilot. You know what I'm saying? Goose. Or was it Iceman? Who'd we lose? Yeah, Goose. R.I.P. Goose. Anyway, they're coming back out with a new one. I think Goose is in it, so that's weird. He came back to life for the movie. But back to the point, I think anything great needs to feel dangerous. It needs to feel a little risky. It needs to feel a little scary. It needs to feel a little bit on the edge of unknown and outside the walls of safety, or what we think is safety, or what we've been told is safety, or what we've been promised even. Do this. Get a good education so that you can get a really good job, and then you can meet a really good person, and then you can get it married and have kids and have the house. But again, nobody says anywhere in there, if you do those things, say that that's the right thing. One, they never say how to do them, and they never say, what if that doesn't work out? And that's what all of us have been through. All of us have been through it, I think, on here. All of us have been through one try or another and been like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. And then try to navigate it individually of how do I deal with it? Was it my fault? Am I not good enough? Did I do the system wrong? Who is it? Like, what is it? But the common answer is it's not anything. It's our expectation was set by someone else. So yeah, it feels wrong, or it feels bad, or it feels a failure, or it feels like we didn't show up to the task. But it's only because we let somebody else set our own goals for our life. And that's a little ridiculous when you think about it in hindsight, when you've gone through something already and we're older and we know, and we think about it and we go, why did I care? Why did I care what somebody else there? Why did I care what they thought? Or why did I stay so long? Or why did I? It's easier to do that, right? But I think we kind of constantly have to push ourselves on the edge and seek out that ultimate freedom. Like I said, I don't want to undermine anywhere else, because we do have ultimate freedom in America. We really do. We're blessed here. The things we get to do every day is unbelievable in comparison to other places in this world. We truly are. There's places that are just not even close to caught up. And we get to make choices every day, whether if I'm sad or not today. So I'm not saying it in that way at all. I'm saying because we have so much freedom, let's push the edge of it and what's really freedom for us individually. That's what I'm saying. I think too many freedoms on the other side of this coin, too much freedom can be dangerous in the real sense of the word dangerous. Too much freedom can make us complacent. Too much freedom can make it dangerously, put us on the dangerous edge of doing nothing with our life. because we don't have to. So there's both sides of it. Amber, did you have your hand up or did you hit the button on accident? Or did she freeze? I think she froze. If you can hear me, Amber, your phone froze. Move around maybe. Hold on. Yeah, her hand's back up, but you're frozen. No? Okay. So yeah, let's try to figure out ways that we can, I think, freedom comes in many different ways. It's mostly in our mind, in my opinion. It's what we tell ourselves, what we believe. In psychology
Yeah.
and the stuff that
Yeah, I
we do.
just.
You there?
All right. Hello?
There?
Can you hear Harold?
I
Can
can
you hear me?
I can hear you. Hello?
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 Can you hear me now?
Kinda, you're choppy. Hello?
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Oh. Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Try to move around a little bit. Choppy. Did I spell that right? Oops. Did I send that? Chop suey. Am I even chatting? I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm trying to write in the chat, but I can't figure it out. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying. What was I saying? Freedom, Braveheart, Mel Gibson. What was I saying? I can't remember. Something about painting our faces blue, running in the field naked. Anyway, freedom is in the mind. It really is. It starts in the mind. It's what we tell ourselves every day. And when we do the mapping on the headband stuff I do, focus band, we always find that we can trick ourselves every day, and it's not a bad thing. If you're very confident, or you're a person that talks shit to yourself, or you're always in the bright side of something, even if you're bad at it. It's proven that you can trick the mind into believing that you are that person, regardless if you are or not. So that in itself is pretty cool, because we're already predisposed to have 3 negative thoughts to 1 as human, as a culture surviving mechanism. So we can't go backwards by staying ahead of it and talking shit. Like, there's nothing to lose, but there's everything to gain from negativity. It's everything to gain. You can gain a whole lot. A real shitty day, week and month, it turns into a lifetime of that, because you believe it. Your thoughts are your things. So the freedom lies in the mind and what we tell ourselves every day. So if we can practice talking shit, even if it's here, you have to say it out loud. I like to talk shit out loud. That's just what I do, especially on the golf course. I don't care who I'm playing. I will talk shit to them to try to get an edge and to make myself believe that I can beat that person. Now, I might have 0 chance, but what do I lose at the end? Nothing. But if I walked into it like, this person's better than me, they're professional, they're going to kill me, like I shouldn't be playing them, well, then I have everything to gain as well there. It'll be a real embarrassing day. So the freedom lies in the mind. Welcome, Megan. Anybody have anything to share on this thought in particular? Hand raises? No, I don't see any. The hell are you giggling at, Lauren? Everybody knows Lauren's birthday. Everybody want to sing her happy birthday? We're on here.
No. No, I'm laughing because I'm here with my coworker, who I always joke around and say, fake it till you make it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to act confident to the customer. We're in automotive, and it is what it is. I mean, you have to act confident, like, what you're talking about to the customer. You don't want to like BS them, but you want them to have full confidence in you. And so I always joke around and say, fake it till you make it. So he's
love
over
that.
here talking crap in the side. hmm
That's part of your training program.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that's true. We talked, we
Not he
discussed about that.
hit it yet, so he still has to fake it.
Phase 2, you gotta teach him when you make it how to act.
Exactly. Point 2, point 3.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I'm out here, obviously in California, looking at a business opportunity and going through the whole operation, the whole thing. We talked about employees and all that stuff. And we had that similar conversation about, we get the key about work ethic is not always knowing what you're doing, but you do sometimes have to be acting like you're doing something when I walk in the building.
Yeah.
Like, to be at least that smart, I can respect. To walk in and have you sitting in my chair on your phone, that I
Yeah.
can't figure out. So like, I don't need you to know everything I know, but have enough smarts to understand that you have to fake a little bit of what you don't know until you know, so you can show me. And then you can be the captain of the ship, because I'd gladly hand it over to you. But if you don't even have the willingness to fake it, you ain't never going to make it to the point of you knowing it.
Mhm.
So it's funny because we said that growing up, like fake it till you make it. But it is true. It's true in the workforce. Do as
Well,
much as you can until you understand what you're doing, and then be great at it.
And everyone always jokes about, like, so where I live, Charlotte, or Waxhaw, Ballantyne, and everyone's like, oh, you're where the money is. And I'm like, no, you fake it till you make it. Like,
Yeah.
for the school district, and I'm here faking it until I can make
Yeah.
it.
Still got the bills. Bills are still showing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So
They are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really Phil. What else? Anybody have anything on their mind? Doesn't have to be about the topic. Anybody have anything heavy on their heart or their mind that they've been thinking about or want to share? Portia?
I just wanted to say that I think that when I think of freedom, I think of faith, right? Because like you had said that we can't, we have to take risks. And so I think of like growth is always going to be outside of your comfort zone of what you've always known, because that's why it's comfortable, right? That's why they call it the comfort zone. But I think what comes to mind for me is why people don't risk in their lives and they don't actually do something and live up to that potential, because I feel like most people, it's much easier to want to fit in, right? And when you fit in and when you're in this program of what is written by somebody else, that matrix, right? You're not willing to be risk being humiliated, you're not willing to be vulnerable, and you're not willing to be misunderstood. You have to be okay with being misunderstood and rejected and not accepted and not liked. And when you can let go and stay unattached to all of the outcomes and know that like you no longer have to give your power away to something outside of yourself, you now have that energy to pour back inside of you and to fuel your own desires. And so like, I always think of like fear is a GPS. You move toward the fear, because if you have to do the thing that scares you in order for you to take your next, like that's like your next move in life, right? Otherwise, like you're just going to stay the same person. And I think like when we can truly get beyond like not caring what anyone thinks of you, like that's when you've reached like a dangerously high level of freedom as well, because you no longer have to give yourself away to things that aren't in alignment with who you are. And you remember, like you said, your mind, it will believe what you tell it. So like when you feed it faith and you feed it truth and you feed it love, like you win the freedom in that way, because faith is taking the first step without even seeing like the whole staircase, right? It's the truth that like ultimately like we bring the pains to our light. And when we are willing to step in our truth, everything that we always talk about every single week of being our authentic selves, like that's freedom, to show up fully as who you are and know that it doesn't matter where the outcome goes, right? Because you know who you are. To know yourself is to be known.
To know and love your
Like I always think of Kanye West. Like nobody ever believed in him, right? They didn't see his color thinking, but everybody saw the black and white, right? And they were like, oh, you're never going to go anywhere, you're never going to do anything. But he pushed beyond the limits, right? And people still don't understand him, and that's okay, because he knows what works for him.
Yeah, it's true. And it's not everybody's job to fall in line. I'm not saying we need to recreate a new norm, like the one that exists today. It's not like let's recreate a new one so that we can all fall in line to that and see it fail or work.
But you bring up a good point. I mean, you bring up a good point, and I think we've all talked about it, but never really like focused on it, how things have changed and it's not the same as it was, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. It is ever evolving. And if we don't evolve with it, hold ourselves to the same standards that were back then, we're complaining.
Yeah, it's a good point. We should always be checking. I always use my every 5 years is my like checkpoint on recreating or reassessing or looking at a new possibility of life, whether it be career or what I'm doing. Always looked at 5-year chunks. And I mean, even in 5 years, a lot happens in the world around us that's changing and it's changing. In this past 5 years, it's in I looked this up today because we're doing this business stuff, and I was doing some research on what are the best businesses to start moving forward after all this stuff happened in 2022. And a lot of it was based around just what happened. It changed it dramatically. And things like this buying and selling from a home space, like literally buying for Amazon and selling their product to somebody else, like these things, like the top 18 and 22 are all these things. Whereas that was dramatically different 18 months ago. And it went up. I don't know the actual percentage. I'll fuck it up, but I read it and it blew my mind. In 90 days, it went up more than it did in 10 years, the growth. In 90 days. So in this past 5 years, because of what just happened, our world has absolutely changed. It's not like a little by little. This particular set of years has changed it forever in a huge way. Things are different, and it's clear today because it was forced on us in a dramatic way. So it's very clear.
I had a guy that works for the airlines tell me something that I thought was really cool. And I guess a customer had asked him, when are things going to go back to like pre-COVID? And he said, do you remember 9/11? And they were like, yeah. And he was like, did things ever go back?
No.
And I'm like, no. And he's like, yeah, it's never going to go back. And I thought that was a really good kind of reflection, because it's not going to go back.
No.
I mean, like I'm in the automotive industry, right? So like people are wanting to repair their cars because new cars aren't available. It just even like getting parts, getting tires, getting certain things, but everything going up, it's changed everything that we do and everything that everyone else does.
And you guys have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
You can't wait for it to return. You have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the point, right? Like, this guy said this crazy, I'd never heard this before. Maybe somebody else has, but you know what paranoia is, right? Everybody knows what paranoia is. He talked about living in pronoia, and that living in true freedom in his life is to know that if something happened in his life, if he got in his car accident, if he was diagnosed with disease and he got through it, and he always says pronoia, because it's leading him to the spot. It's not paranoia, it's pronoia. It is what it is. He uses it and he gets excited about it because he knows it's for him for the next thing coming. He says every time something crazy happens to him, he says pronoia, because he knows something, he gets goosebumps and something crazy is about to happen well in his life. And he sees us hills and valleys thing clearly. So he's like, I almost invite and encourage some of my downs because I know what's coming. I've seen proof of it, pronoia. I thought, wow, what a fucking, when he said it, it gave me goosebumps. So I was like, what a way to look at something. Yeah, like what a way to look at something, have a brilliance of mind to like take something and use it to your advantage. Like he gets excited because he trusts that right after it, one of his greatest moments is coming. That's like, he would have been burned at the cross back in the day. Drag this witch out to the yard, set him on fire. Talk about pronoia. So look, we have here's another freedom. We have the freedom of vocabulary. You know, one of the things I think is overlooked in this country, particularly, is we get to say whatever we want to anybody we want, whenever we want, how we want, with any intention. Especially right now, because it's like you get to say whatever you want because it's your freaking right. And somebody can't say you can't say it because then you're hurting my feelings that you hurt their feelings. And it's like, look, in a lot of countries, you can't say what you want. And we can say whatever we want, all the way to the point that now we're saying it and then saying it back. It's so convoluted. It's disgusting. But the point is, we get the freedom of vocabulary, but we got to use it on ourselves a lot of times too. We don't use it on ourselves well enough. We got to talk to ourselves in these ways. We got to use it and turn it around us. Look in the mirror, turn it around and talk to yourself. Talk to yourself more. It's not crazy. It's actually the key to sanity.
You know, one thing that I think is super cool this year that I've seen, at least here in Charlotte, is the focus on mental health and how people are really like zoning in on how important that is and how focusing on that is, and like not to compartmentalize and not to like just push it away and tuck it away and save it for another day because the world needs to see this face and it has to be perfect. And I feel like, I mean, like my neighborhood made, you know, blue and yellow bows and they have flags and they put it all. And I just thought that that was a neat concept that I feel like I hadn't seen prior to this year. And I'm guilty of saying like, oh my gosh, everyone's so sensitive right now. Like we can't have a statue. We can't have a flag. I will totally admit to being guilty of saying that, but I do like the focus on mental health and it's okay not to be okay. Yeah. And people accepting that more so now than they ever have before.
Right. Yeah, I agree. You bring up a lot of good points there, and I agree with all that. I think we're just struggling as a country and as a world. I mean, it's not several, but we are struggling because we're trying to be sensitive to everybody and everything. That there is no clear lines between what you just said. You know, there just isn't anymore. There used to be, and there isn't. And I'm not saying it's not okay. We always have to evolve, but it's so blended at the moment. It's confusing. And
you can't everyone. You've got to pick, you know.
And that's supposed to be the point of freedom of speech and the whole nine. It's supposed to be, we're supposed to say what we want. Everybody's supposed to say what they want. And you know, you like it or not, and that's how you choose who you want to be around, and it's how we choose. It's not just supposed to be say I say what I want and what I feel, and it's my true heart, and then I have to get tortured by it because somebody got hurt that I wasn't even speaking to. You know, so it's a little mashed up right now, and I'm not sure that we're doing a good job being involved in it. I think we're just letting it glaze over. It's just one big glaze over, and
everybody doesn't need a trophy.
Yeah, why? I could use a trophy.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get one.
I mean, I could use a trophy, but no, you're right. I mean, we don't. There is information out there about what it takes to be great in anything you do, and sometimes failing, sometimes the downfall, sometimes
losing is your biggest lesson.
Right. Sometimes,
and I think you brought that earlier. Yeah, you brought that up earlier.
Like,
and I mean, sometimes your biggest downfalls are your biggest lessons, and your biggest defeats, you know, is where you're able to help somebody like move forward where maybe they're stuck, or you're able to get somebody through something that they didn't realize they could get through.
Look, you're a parent, and a lot of you are having parents here. So I think directly of parents. I think, what if a parent parented their children from today moving forward with everything the kid did was just okay, period. And you couldn't yell at them because that's offensive. Do not yell at your child. Whatever they do is absolutely great from now until they're older. Can you imagine what that would turn out to be?
We would have a whole bunch of, I can't even say it because we're on this platform,
Well,
But
this
yeah.
is the real raw. You can say whatever you want. This is not the church.
Okay,
one.
well,
You can
we
say
would have a whole bunch of
shit, bitch,
the
cock,
Jays.
balls.
who don't know how to stand up for themselves and don't know what it is like to lose or to win. If
Right.
everyone always wins, then there's nothing great about winning and about success and about busting your ass to do something great. If everybody gets a trophy and if everybody gets a attaboy, then what's the win? What's the big goal?
But what's the standard?
Why reach for it?
What's the standard? Why take tests? Why take the SAT?
Exactly.
How do you get in college? How do you pass a grade? How do you get a job? How do you keep a job? If we have no standards or any rules? So I'm saying the change is coming and it's okay. I'm saying a lot of this stuff needs to be sensitized because it does. Because you can't just go around trying to ruin people. And there are people still doing that. Totally agree. I'm just saying with the change, be mindful of the fact that you can't take down a system of standards because then we have nothing to go by.
We've got to be ever evolving. We've got to take the good with the bad, learn from the bad, learn from the good, and keep going, keep processing, keep trucking along, and know that what was good then might not be good now. What's good now might not be good in a year. We don't know. And
That's
I
the
think
dangerous
anything,
freedom.
2020 through 2022 has taught us that.
Yeah. And that's the dangerous freedom I spoke of. That's the other side of the coin. We could get to a scary level of freedom, a dangerous level of freedom where it is just too much. Too much freedom can be dangerous. We've seen it in the history of everywhere in the world. So you can't give too much to an individual because it can be dangerous. So anyway, the point of the meeting tonight was really about us individually, reaching personal goals and personal levels of freedom and in our mind, in our lives, in our dailies, and breaking free of the things that do imprison us every day that weren't even ours to begin with, that were somebody else's, that were instilled on us, not by permission, by the way. We forget about that a lot of times. A lot of the things that were instilled on us were given and put on us without our permission. And then we just owned them for years until something happened and we got wise and we're like, wait, that isn't mine to hold on to. This isn't mine. This isn't me. This isn't how I live. This isn't, and it usually takes something significant to get there. And it's unfortunate. So stay wise to that. Stay wise to whatever you felt early on at a young age. It wasn't yours because you didn't have a chance to develop yours. There was no yours yet. So we're coming into ours now, and we gotta break free of some of the restraints and the imprisonments we put on ourselves because of that, and really reach those levels of freedom that we've never seen, experienced, witnessed, felt, heard, because it's time to embrace it. The world is changing. It has changed, and we need to be a part of that change and do it in a healthy way. Like Lauren was saying on the mindset, we need to be healthy in the mind first because nothing else works after that. The body follows. It doesn't go the other way around. Can't skip the mind, just hope your body lives longer. It's not the way it goes. So what else? Anybody, what'd you get for your birthday, Lauren?
I asked for peace and quiet. I asked to not be bothered. And
Wait,
that is
is that why you've been
exactly
skipping
what
this?
I got.
Is that why you skipped last week? You want to hear?
Actually last week I was in bed. I went to bed so early. So yeah,
Peace and quiet.
I usually prepare for my Mondays because I know they're going to be bad. And so I've been going like Sunday nights. I'm usually in bed at like 8:50. Monday night, I'm like, oh, Monday just happened. So I'm in bed really, really early, but no, last weekend, I just asked, I wanted quietness and I didn't want to be bothered. And that's exactly what I got. So I was happy. And yes, and I did Easter. We had the kids, we did all that stuff. And then my kids were on spring break. So they just went back today for the first time in a week. So we had a day.
I love that answer. Peace and quiet. That's a
Yes.
well-deserved answer. And that's good. I'm glad you said that. That's nice. I'm glad you got it and you said it.
Yep. I got Red Bulls, pickle chips, flowers.
Wait, you
Wallet,
chugged Red Bulls and then got some peace and quiet? Couldn't you hear your heartbeat going like this?
Well, it was after I got the peace and quiet the next morning. It was like, all right, get to business. Come on, catch back up from everything you forgot to do.
You're laying in bed telling your heart to quiet down. Shut up. I want peace and quiet.
Yes, shut up. No, go back to sleep. Precisely.
Amber wrote a raw note. I'll just put it into the live chat. I'll copy and paste it. So what she was going to say, but kind of ended it with saying that it's sad to have access to almost everything we possibly could ever want or dream of and still feel helpless sometimes. That's what she was kind of getting at. But I'll share she put a longer message. I'll put it in our group chat on our phones.
I think I think you hit a good point earlier when you were saying that, sometimes I feel like we all probably try to deal with things on our own because we don't know how to act, because it has changed and what was acceptable, what's acceptable now has changed. And so we don't necessarily know how to act. So instead of sharing, because some of us might not be used to that, we compartmentalize or we keep it to ourselves. So we do deal with it on our own. And we don't know how to share or how to say, hey, I need help, or hey, I'm dealing with this, it sucks. And I think that that's probably like you said earlier, I think that's something that we probably all struggle with, at least our genre.
Yeah, I agree. And this is the point of these things too, right? So we can all kind of express and talk and open and share, and building trust amongst a group or people is important too, to feel like you can break free of these things too. Like we feel isolated a lot. I think the reason I even wanted to do these things from day one, or I joined some at start and then did them, is because it unlocked that for me. It made me realize that I wasn't the only one going through anything, because we can feel like we're the ones going through it. And I don't want to burden anybody with my constraints in life and my imprisonment and my stuff, when in reality, it's rarer to find somebody that's not dealing with something similar. That's the real truth. But we just believe that it's, it's here and, no worries, I'm not going to share. I'm fine. I saw a heartbreaking thing the other day, and it reminded me of my friend that I lost last year to suicide. I saw this thing. It's like the happiest moments sometimes, or come right before somebody takes their life, and because you don't witness what's coming when it comes to something that harsh. You don't see it because a lot of people are good at faking it and acting as if things are okay in spaces, but when they're alone is when they deal with the demons. And he said, think of your happiest friend right now and give them a call and see how they're doing,
because they're usually not that great,
because sometimes they're just really good
at faking it.
Right. So it's a heartbreaking thing to hear, because I had a friend do it, and it's hard to think about, but it's real, because I haven't come that close, but I felt that before. I felt that at my younger age. I felt like I didn't want to be here. But if you would ask me around me, nobody would have told you I wasn't anything but having a good time. So think about that when you're thinking about calling your people and checking in, because sometimes it's the people you don't suspect that need your help the most, or a phone call for another day or for another week to extend them a month, a year, their lifetime. So this thing's not just for us. It's supposed to be so that we get better, and then we share and we play this game of phone tag and telephone, so that these 7 people can talk to the people you're around every day, and they can share it, can move on. We can video these, and God forbid if I'm not here one day, that these still float around the internet somewhere. It's not supposed to be just for us. It's supposed to be for anybody. So my hopes are that it reaches as many people as possible through us, not just through this platform, but through us being better, through us being more courageous and coming into more freedoms in our life, and trusting, and that we can smudge somebody else's life a little bit. And that makes me happy. So anybody else have anything they want to close with before we wrap up? Jason did say for the next year's Christmas special, he will host and be Santa Claus. So just in case anybody else wanted that date, it's already taken.
Oh gosh.
But that means you're gonna have to give everybody a present. So just think about that, buddy, for volunteering.
It's only getting longer.
I know.
Later.
It's like grow like 3 inches a week, dude. That thing's out
I
of control.
tell you. Imagine by next December.
You're not gonna be able to see your shirt. We're gonna think you're just no shirt on.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. You put literally energy in my soul every week, and I appreciate you guys. I wouldn't want to do it without you. So love you guys. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk next week.
Love you guys too.
Love you
Thanks,
too.
Michael.